The Master Tavern Keeper's History of the Old World. What? The Chaos Dwarfs helped in the fight against the Thunder Lizard who was attacking Skeggy. Those vile, malicious, vindictive, diminutive tinkerers from the Darklands helped. I can scarcely believe it. And also, how did they even end up in Skeggy, Master Tavern Keeper? They were far from home. Ah, well, indeed they were. But the simple answer to your question is this. They arrived much the same as everyone else in Skeggy. They came by sea. But there's more to it than that, if you wish to quickly dive into this particular rabbit hole. Oh, yeah, I would indeed. Please, tell all, Master Tavern Keeper. Well, in that case, listen on. Firstly, much like the dwarves of the port of Barak Var have their very own harbour and navy, so too do the Chaos Dwarfs maintain their own harbours. A twisted version of the fine quays of Barak Var, it has to be said though. These are found in two locations. There are quays flanking the polluted home of the Chaos Dwarfs, the Tower of Zar Nagrund that sits on the River Ruin, as well as the great harbours of the seaport of Uzkulak on the Sea of Claws. My old boss, Morgrim Goldbeard, a fine upstanding dwarf from Barak Var himself, told me all about the fleets that set sail from these places once. Skeggy, 1551.
Grimnir's Donglis sounds like you had a lucky escape. You're lucky. The dung cart was full of stegadonic and not a meat-eater's droppings. Let me tell you, Umgi, there's a world of difference between the fragrance of a stegadon and a carnosaur. Me. Now, Umgi, there was a reason I've sat you down, and it wasn't to hear about your romantic escapades and close run-ins and escapes from angry husbands. I need to warn you about some folks that have just come into port. Folks with whom I doubt you've had any experience.
Oh, really? I wouldn't assume too much about me until you know me a bit better, Master Goldbeard. I've met a lot of people from all over the old world and beyond, I'll have you know. Who might it be that has you acting so carefully, my dear Dowie benefactor?
Cleave me to the brisket. You've a tongue in that mouth of yours, Umge. It's half the reason I like you, I suppose. Go on then, let me know. Have you ever served one of the Uzkul Drathzar?
The who?
The Dawezar, my youthful friend.
Ah, the Chaos Dwarfs. Yes, you're right. I've never even met one, let alone served one a drink.
But you know of them, at least. And in the dwarf tongue. That's good. If you'd have known them by the name they call themselves, the Uzkul Drathzar, then I think you and I would have a problem. But as that's not the case, I can continue.
Oh, I see. By all means. I'm all ears now.
Good. As you probably know, the Chaos Dwarfs, as you call them in your Reichsspiel, are my traitorous cousins. Fallen to the dark god Hashut, eons ago, in the wake of the great migrations of us dwarves from our mountainous homelands in the Southlands. Now, back in the old world, I'd have killed any one of these Frundar on sight. A Frundar, it means a traitorous kin, my curious young Umge. But you may have noticed that we are not in the old world. Skeggy is a place apart, as are the sea lanes leading to her quays. Here we live under the shadow of roughly hewn statues to the Dark Pantheon, and are surrounded by their followers. But we are far from the Chaos Wastes, and the direct influence of the gods and their most blinkered scions, champions, and demigods. Thus we are tolerated, and thus do we tolerate. So, even those with whom my race has a blood feud are welcome in my bar. And as a result, on one rare occasion that one of the ships of the Chaos Dwarfs happens to come into port, the crew will most assuredly be welcome here. There is no finer purveyor of dwarf ales in all the New World. Not that we've much competition, and not that we've much stock, but what dwarf, irrespective of his stripe, can resist the finest of ales? By the way, there's a berserker in town, a dwarf called Strolvar. Do not let him know we have any dwarf ale. He'd drink us dry in a day. Feign ignorance, and serve him our regular swill. He'll complain like crazy, but will keep on drinking and coming back for more. Now, these Chaos Dwarves are a funny lot. No one likes them, and they don't like anyone else. If they come in, give them one of the special looms up top, and make sure you assign Balzac the Tongueless to serve them. So long as you do all that, we'll be fine. And I'll still have a bar after they leave, rather than a smoking pile of cinders and skeletons.
Understood. I have to say, though, I'm surprised that they can reach us here in Skeggy. I honestly thought them all but confined to the Darklands.
Alas, they are not, nor is their threat particularly well known nor recognized by those who've not come into conflict with them in the nearby waters to the Darklands. That said, of those that do, not many survive such an encounter, to be honest.
I see. I still have a niggling question, though. Do you know much about how they get to Skeggy? I mean, what do you know about their ships and fleets? It feels like you have some insight here, Goldbeard.
Bad Grimnir's Dongles. You're very perceptive for an Umge. Aye, you're quite right. I heard all about the Dowie Tsar at sea from an old shipmate of mine when I was engaged in piracy on the high seas. A dwarf, a Frurundar no less, called Mordian Slagfist.